Crypto bros, I have to say, you might want to hold off at least for a month or so, maybe even into next year before buying any more crypto right now. Right now might be no bueno. I know some of you were basically incentivized by that pump we had last week or 2 days ago, but let's be honest. That pump has already retraced and there could be more pain ahead. Mainly because of the government shutdown. We are definitely getting to that state where the government shutdown is affecting all facets of the economy. And that obviously is no good. I mean, air travel and stuff, but the markets as well, because there's just so much uncertainty introduced, and it does not look like people think it's going to end soon. And that's problematic because people always invest based on projections. If you look at it right now, when will the government shut down? And 8% thinks by the 11th on Polymarket. 30% thinks 12th through 15th, which means we're a week away. And 62% think November 16th plus, which means, yeah, it's not ending anytime soon whatsoever. Many people actually think it won't resolve until after Thanksgiving. That's why I think you should probably wait a month or two. At least like you need to hear some news the two sides are coming together, because every piece of news that I've heard so far is that they are more far apart than ever right now. I'm actually tempted to put a bet on November 16th, but I don't really gamble or bet on Polymarket. But right now, that's what people's outlooks are. And because that's what like public opinion is, I think people are going to act accordingly in their investing. They're assuming that it won't actually end. They're going to assume that it won't end until after Thanksgiving, most likely. And that means like at least for most of November, if not all of November, the market is probably headed in a downwards trajectory and not an upwards trajectory. There will be certain pumps. I mean, privacy coins might still do well if you want to dabble in that. I personally wouldn't, because it's been pumping a lot, and things that pump a lot tend to actually come crashing down, especially when the macro factors are not great. And trust me, they are not great right now. I mean, you're seeing a lot of the TSA and the flight controllers actually being basically heavily strained. And I think government started canceling flights and stuff. That's very, very bad for the economy. And crypto is impacted by whether the economy is good or not, especially now that the federal employees, some of them have been basically furloughed, even more than before, and they don't have money anymore. And you want to have powder. You absolutely want to have dry powder when the market revives. So that's why you probably shouldn't really buy right now and wait at least for the first sign of news the government's going to open back up. Because once the government opens back up, a lot of those employees are actually going to get back pay. 100% they're going to get back pay, because it is actually illegal to not back pay them. If you look on Polymarkets on that one, it's actually at 95%. Donald Trump has mentioned that he might not back pay them, but that's actually illegal according to the Constitution, I believe. And he will have to actually back pay them. And that's going to be an injection of money. And yes, they will use that money to pay off bills and loans and stuff to get them through this time. But, it's going to be like an extra injection of several $1,000s for many families. And some of that might go into crypto. It's like a stimulus, but it's not really a stimulus, because like it's money that you've earned, not the money's basically not money that the government's just giving you for free, more or less. So yeah, the stimulus is definitely going to be pretty big. And I think some of those guys will actually toss it in the crypto bin, especially because now they might not have a complete trust of the government, because it just randomly shuts down for a huge amount of time. And remember, we are now in record territory. Like, we've already broken the record for the longest government shutdown. And, a lot of people think there will be more government shutdowns in the future. I actually agree with that assessment as well. So, I mean, there's like two reasons right there. One is because I think the rest of this month is going to be crappy. Chuck Schumer and, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are not like really wanting to compromise on the ACA thing. They've actually thrown out an olive branch saying that we can extend them for one more year. They were originally against that. Hakeem Jeffries was originally against that. But based on the results of the midterm, they think they can probably sweep Congress next year. So if they extend it this year, they will be able to extend it next year too, because they'll have control of both houses of Congress. And because the ACA is generally pretty popular, like 72% of people or more want to actually extend the credits, they're going to pass it. And if Donald Trump vetoes it, that's going to destroy the Republicans 2 years later. So like they want to put the onus on the Republicans and Trump. So they're willing to accept this 1 year rule, banking on the fact that in a year they will actually win the midterms. And with winning the midterms, they will actually be able to pass permanent extensions for the ACA. So the thing is, like, but the Republicans have actually rejected the 1 year extension now in the Senate. And like Mike Johnson refusing to reconvene the House because the Senate has not decided yet. So right now we are further apart than ever. I only give it about a 10% chance that this actually resolves next week. And I think we're going to have the good old fashioned Mexican standoff again. And it's going to last for several more weeks, which means a lot of people aren't getting paid. There's going to be growing uncertainty. Market's going to be more and more affected. Flight travel plans and stuff like that's going to be more and more affected, and people are going to get more and more nervous, which does not bode well for any kind of risky investment market. Also, Jerome Powell has said he doesn't really have data anymore, or like good data at least, so he might not actually want to cut rates. Now, I think he will eventually cut rates anyways, because I think anyone can tell that this like shutdown is hurting the economy, and the economy wasn't doing that great in the first place. So he probably will cut rates, but that uncertainty that he brings by saying that he might not cut rates is getting people extremely afraid of the overall market right now. So really not much you can do at this point except just to hold on to your money until we dip a little bit more. Because if Bitcoin goes below 100,000, I think those alts are going to dip like 10-20% again. And then you can pick up some very, very cheap alts. I mean, if you want to DCA, that's fine too. But I would definitely make sure that you have enough dry powder for when a big dip happens, because I definitely think that's in the cards, especially if we don't open up until after Thanksgiving. And after we've had this giant dump, and then we open the government back up, maybe in December, maybe next year, depending on how long this government shutdown lasts. At that point, you know, like there'll probably be a big rush back into crypto because of the extra money that the back pay has actually that the back pay is actually going to cause. So you might want to get in right before that, unless there's talk of another shutdown. Obviously, both parties are going to gauge consumer sentiment, and according to the off-year elections, the Democrats really don't have any real reason to actually cave in right now. Although Chuck Schumer said we'll accept the 1 year extension at this point, which Republicans don't want to, because I think both parties realize that the GOP is most likely going to lose the midterms. And if they do the 1 year extension, they're probably going to have to do multiple years of extension, because the Democrats are probably going to pass that law through Congress after the midterm, and they won't really have a way to weaken or get rid of the ACA, which is essentially the GOP's plan all along. And the Democrats are actually right in their cause to actually just like hold off until they get some kind of extension or some kind of written guarantee on the ACA, because they know that the GOP, you can't really trust the word of mouth there, because they've done this before and they've gotten screwed. So they're waiting for like basically something solid to extend the ACA. But that fight is going to go on for quite a while. I think basically at least another 2 weeks, which would actually bring us to about Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving dinner and Thanksgiving sales are going to be pretty poor, because a lot of people aren't going to have money. And of course, people are going to cut back at this point because the government's still shut down and people are still very uncertain. Add to the fact that like the big tech companies like Microsoft, Amazon, they're laying off people and replacing them with AI. That makes people even more cautious of the overall economy. So right now, it's just a lot of things that are not good right now. So yeah, definitely hang on to your dry powder and make sure you have some once we actually hit rock bottom. Because I have a feeling that like at least in the local cycle, we can hit rock bottom within like a month or two, especially if the government doesn't open up for another month. That'll be a lot of pain, and people might have to liquidate their assets just to make ends meet, because they're not actually getting paid. They're not getting paid while they're actually being furloughed right now. Obviously, SNAP benefits are at risk as well, so that actually may affect overall market. Not so much the SNAP recipients; they don't have money to buy crypto, but industries like groceries and groceries and supermarkets are definitely going to be affected. So that might actually result in some layoffs as well. So overall, maybe a lot of layoffs coming. The economy is going to have some shrinkage. That means crypto price is going to have some shrinkage. And overall, that's just not a situation where you want to be spending your money. If you want a DCA, perfectly fine, but DCA is the most I would do. I would not go all in right now because I think there is a chance that there are some big dips actually coming. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.